Absolutely. So now let's dive into explore what is variable, how to define a variable. Okay, so in Python, okay, like I said earlier, you don't have to declare the type of the variable. Okay, and you can assign the value directly to a variable. Okay, first of all, what is a variable? What is a variable? Variable is a named storage location to hold a value. Okay, see, in the case of computer, we have something called memory, right? We have something called memory. Right? So the data gets stored in memory. Okay, and the data gets stored in memory. And for example, when it comes to let's say you assign a value. In this case, I've assigned the hello world, right? This value to this variable. So that means you just assume that it is a container. So what do you mean by container, right? So it's something like a vessel. Okay, so in this one, the hello world got stored. So for this container name is message. It's something like you put a string into this box. Okay, that box name is message. Okay, and you wanted to know later point in time what value what object you put it inside this box. So in that case, you need to use a print function message, or simply you can type message. It will show that. So you need to store the value into this container. Okay, in this case, the container name is message. To view the value stored in this container, you need to execute this one message. Okay, print message. But here you don't have to explicitly declare the type of variable. So in the case of the C language, other language, right, Java, you need to you need to declare the type of this variable. For example, message str. You need to declare it in Java like this. Message is a string data type. But here you don't have to declare the data. For example, I'm going to use 10 variables. For each variable, I need to declare the data type first, and then only I'll have to assign the value. But with Python, you don't have that idea. Okay, the variables in Python, it provides a way to store and manage the data so that we can easily refer to and modify it as and when it is required. Okay, now the question is, why do I need to use variable? Why do I need to use variables? Variables are essential for making your code dynamic, in the sense for writing dynamic and flexible code. Right, so because it will allow you to work with different values without hard coding them directly into your program. For example, in this case, look here, I just show you here. In this case, I did not use any variable. Simply, I have, look here, I just put the same thing here, hello world. And if I execute this one by hitting the run button, display the hello world. So this is called hard coding. Here I hard coded. Okay, but whereas here I have used a container variable. In this variable, I put this one. I assign this one into this variable. That means this one will get stored in the memory location of message in my laptop. Okay, and later point in time, if I want to view what value stored in this one, I can use print, or just you can type the variable name itself. You can, but this is the best practice. Use print always. Okay, inside the print function, you can use the variable name. But later point in time, if you want to change it, hello world, hello, or hello, welcome to the world of Python. If you want to make changes to this, you can make a changes here itself, right, in the variable, so that it will get changed dynamically. Instead of using this one directly here, I'm storing this into a variable. That variable I'm going to call it here. Okay, I'm going to execute it here to see what value stored in the message now. So all you need just do this one. Okay, in this case, we are not putting the entire text directly here. Instead, we are using a variable. So this is essential. The variables are essential for writing dynamic and flexible code. Okay. Like I said, in Python, you don't need to explicitly declare the type of variable, the data type of variable. You can simply assign a value to a variable name. Okay, to declare a variable, we need to write the variable name. We need to specify. In this case, the variable name is message. Okay, And then followed by that, you need to specify equal sign. Okay, on this is your assignment operator. This is your assignment operator. On the right side, you specify whatever the value that you want to assign it to this variable. That's all. So once you specify something like this value will get stored here. Okay, now the question is, yes, a beautiful question asked by Aishu and Deepa and Sai Sudha and Soundarya. Very good. So how do I check the data type of the message? So now you stored the string data type. So how do I know what data type this variable is all about? We have something called type function. Inside the type, you just put the variable and hit the run button. You can see str. This is a string data type. This is string data type. Okay, now what I do is I'm going to use another variable. A is equivalent to 5 and B is equivalent to 6. And then what I do is I want to check data type of these two variables. Okay, here the 6.32. Okay, and the next one is A comma B. Give me the data type of the variable A and the data type of the variable B. So for that, I'm using type A comma B. And let's execute this one. It is throwing an error because the type cannot take more than one variable at a time. So what I will do is I'm going to use, in this case, the print is very much helpful. Type A and type B. And then I'm going to hit return. Look here. The variable A is an integer data type and the variable B is a float data type. Very simple, isn't it? So with type function, you can identify the data type of a variable. Okay, the next question is, can I give any name to a variable? Don't give A, comma, B and all variable name. Give some meaningful name. Okay, give some meaningful name. Okay, so how should are there any rules that I should follow in terms of defining the variable names? Yes, there are some rules. I'm going to put it here. So look here, I just clicked on the cell, line number 12. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on a plus in between the line 12 and 14. I just clicked on it. I create a new cell. Okay. And in this case, what I am going to do is I'm going to, specify the comment. Okay. How do I specify comment in Python? Single line comment. You can use hash. It is always important to include the comments wherever it is required in your script. It makes your program more readable. That is the best practice. Again, even if your script executes as expected, again, you need to follow some coding standard, everything. Okay, so this is also one of the standard you need to follow. Best practice. Wherever it is required, you need to put the comments. Okay, how do I put the comment for single line? You need to use the hash. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the variable naming rules. Variable naming rules. And then the next line, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use star. And here the variable names must start with a letter. It can be a lowercase or uppercase or an underscore. You can use underscore also. Okay, something like this. Followed by letters. Letters or digits, you can do that. Okay. The variable names are case sensitive. This is very much important. What do you mean by case sensitive? The small a, in this example, the variable name here is the small a. If I use capital A, that is different altogether. Okay, small a and capital A is treated as two different variables. According to us, we might think the small a and capital A is nothing but a. But when you try to store, when you try to print capital A, it will say the variable not declared. Variable is not available. Okay. So variable names are case sensitive. Okay. And other rule, the common rule in all the programming language, right? So the same thing is avoid using reserved keywords. If, for, while, etc. So these are the reserved word. Don't ever use this one. Look here, I have typed everything, but the first one I started with the hash and the star star, and this is meant for, this cell is meant for comment, okay? And I'm going to click on the drop down here, and I'm going to select markdown, and then I just click on it here, okay? Look here, and I'm going to execute this. It looks like a title, right? It looks like a title in your notebook, typical notebook, right? In the physical notebook, you put some title and then we write it, right? It looks so neat, right? Good. So this is your markdown. Look here, click on here and markdown. You can change to markdown, okay? And the, okay, so these are the rules you need to keep in mind before you declare any variable, okay? And okay, I'm going to do some kind of arithmetic now. So sum result is equivalent to A plus B, print sum result. So what value got stored in the variable A? 5. So what value got stored in variable B? 6.32. So all I need to do is just give A plus B. Both of them are holding 5 and 6.32 respectively. So now, instead of specifying 5 plus 6.32, I just specify the variable name, A plus B. A plus B, and that's all. And print sum of result. That's it. I'm going to hit this one. So 5 plus 6.32 is 11.32. Okay, and now I'm going to make it a little bit more readable. I'm going to use the quoted string here, and the sum of A and B is, I'm going to use colon and double quote and comma. So along with the result, it will display what this value is about, right? So you need to give some context that you can give it inside the double quote, or you can either use a single quote, start with the single quote, end with single quote, or start with double quote, end with the double quote. For example, if you start with single quote and if you end with double quote, it will throw an error. Consistency needs to be maintained, okay? So here start with the single quote and end it with single, or you can start with the double quote, end with double quote to display the custom message along with the variable. Sum of E and B is 11.32. It's very good, okay? And is there any way can I combine the values? Yes, let us do one thing. Let's say, first name is equivalent to, John, and then the last name of a person is Joseph, John Joseph. And here the full name is equivalent to first name. How do I combine these two things into a single string? First underscore name plus, I'm going to use last name, and then print full name. I'm going to hit the run button. Look here, John and Joseph got combined, but there is no space exists between the first name and last name. How can I include the space? What to do is you put empty string and plus again. So the plus notation is used to combine the variables values. Okay, I'm going to hit the, but still here you need to give space. Hit run. Now you can see that John Joseph. There is a space here, right? The full name. And again, you can give some context to this one. It's always good. You can specify the context to your variable. Full name of customer. Oh, yeah. So here you need to give this in full name of customer or your internal staff, right? You should be knowing it. So give some meaningful context along with the variable. Full name. What is the error here? Why am I getting this error? The full name of customer. Look here the open parenthesis is missing. followed by the print. You need to specify the open parenthesis and make sure that there is a corresponding closed parenthesis, is available, and vice versa. Let's say I have the closed parenthesis. Mistakenly, I deleted this open parenthesis. It was throwing the invalid syntax. Okay, and I'm going to execute this again. We can see that it is displaying it correctly, right? Correctly. So this looks pretty decent. Okay, this is how you can declare the variables. Okay, you can declare the variables. And now let us take a look at a couple of other things in the variables. Let's see what is there in store. Variables, yeah. So variables are used to store the data. So that this is how the data will get stored in memory. Okay, the variables are used to store data that take memory space based on the type of value assigned to them. It is a reserved memory location to store values. Okay, every value in Python has data type. For example, age equal to 12, if I assign it, the 12 is an integer data type. Okay, so Python understand automatically with the value that you assign to a variable, what data type that variable is going to be. So since 12 is an integer value, behind the scene, the interpreter, it assigns the integer data type to the variable age. So look here, the age, so that, the age is a memory location. The computer memory, what will happen is the 12 will get stored. What is this 12? What is this 12? You need to know later point in time, right? In this case, I've used only one variable, but when you write 100 lines of code, you might be using at least 10 to 20 variables. So if you see 12, 22, and 32, something like that. So what is this 12, 22, 32? You need to give some context to that. So with the help, that is where the variable, right? So with the variable, we can locate the values that got stored in memory. So the variables, in this case, the age is used to store the data. So this take memory space based on the type of the value we assign to them. Supposing when you use float data type, it requires little more space than the integer data type. Okay, it is a reserved memory location to store the value. So this is your data and this is your address. So in this case, what happened? Age of 0 is the first location is 12. So in this case, in the case of a variable, you can assign only one value. For example, here a equal to 5. Can I assign more than one value? Yes, that is also possible, right? Is it possible? Yes, 5 comma 6. But this is called your tuple. This is called your tuple. It's a collection. It's also called a tuple is also called a collection. We will discuss this little later. Okay, the other question is, yes, 1 second, Deepika. She asked this question, A comma B comma C is equivalent to, can I assign multiple values to more than, let's say, can I assign more than one value to more than one variable in one line? Yes, that is also possible. For example, 10, 20, 30. Print, we can assign in the single line itself, you can assign more than one value to multiple variables. Okay, here print A comma B comma C, and I'm going to, so 10 comma 20 comma 30 got assigned. This is also a special highlight of using the Python. Okay, it's all part of your functional programming language. You can do all the things. Okay. Okay, now the question is, can I use A of 0? Will it give anything here? It will not give anything. It's an integer data. It's not an array. Okay, it's not an array. It is integer data type. Hence, it stores the value in memory, but it doesn't require any index value and all. Okay. Okay. What is the other question? Okay, no, it's too early to discuss about. Let's go step by step. Okay, so your question is, okay, here, okay, what happens is we have something called ID function. Okay, A. If I give that, it will give you the address of your variable A. So in the behind the scene, what happens is for example, I have so what we can do is in this case It gives you the address location of the variable A, address location of the variable A, okay, in the memory, okay. This one, we will discuss it later, don't worry, okay. Okay, now the question is it possible for me to delete a variable? I have, used the variable. For example, in this case, ABC 10, 20, 30. Next one, I'm going to sum all the values. Sum result 2 is equivalent to A plus B plus C. I'm done with this sum result 2. And then what I'm going to do is 60. Okay, all this. Now I wanted to remove the variables. I'm done with the sum. Okay, so now I don't need the A, B, C. Okay, so how do I delete it? So you have something called del, I think del A. Yes, del A. And if I go and execute this one again, it will throw an error. Okay, so what I will do is I will del B, and if I print the value stored in B, it will throw an error because you removed the variable. Look at B is not defined because you deleted the variable. Already we defined it, but we deleted later pointer. But how about the sum result? Is that available? It will be available. Look here, that is got, see, already you added the values. The result of this one is stored it here. The result will be there in memory, right? But even if you delete the variable A, B, C, but the result already you computed it and stored it here. This one will remain as it is, okay? And when you delete A, B, it's something like, if parents die, kids are there still, right? So something like that, okay? Some result. Once your job is over, I need to add all the three variables values. My job is over. Why should I need this one? Once my job is over, I'm going to remove this so that I can use my memory more effectively for to store other variables and all, okay? To effectively manage the memory, you can do it this way, okay? Del F, you can do it. Del variable name, okay? So next, we will start off by discussing about the basic data types. What are the data types that are available